All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the Duskmourn complete set review. Duskmourn. Green. We did white, we did blue, we did black and red. They're all on YouTube. Make sure you go watch this on the YouTube. Make sure you also like, comment, subscribe. Please take a second, leave a comment, leave a like. It helps out a ton because there's a lot of work and your support makes that possible. All right, cool, great, fantastic, awesome. Every card, constructed, limited, giving out all the awards you know and love. And of course, I want to remind you about next week. It's 10 New Brews. The show that I do every new set on the early access. Big thanks to Arena for running the early access event where I get to build 10 new decks and play them against folks playing a bunch of fun new cards, which is great. Gonna be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there on 10 New Brews, but now it's time for the green cards. And it is easy being green, in case you were wondering. Altanac? That's right? Altanac, I did it, yeah. Altanac, the thrice called. We have an uncommon 7-mana legendary insect creature beast 9/9 trample. Holy moly. There comes the target of a spell or ability. Opponent controls draws a card. And then you can discard it to return a land card or get rid of battlefield tap. This card's like kind of awesome, honestly, right? Like, it's a 9/9 trample for 7, which is honestly a limited, like, that's just good, even without all the other abilities. And then if they target it, you draw a card. And then you can just discard it and return like your Fable Passage or whatever, which is kind of sweet. And then put it in the graveyard and reanimate it. So for limited, this card's awesome. There's obviously a bunch of reanimation stuff in both black and white. So like Abzan Reanimator can be a thing for sure. And then like, this thing's an absolute monster. And then the constructed, I mean, 2 mana for Rampant Growth's great. You know, like Fable Passage on 1, play this on 2. That's kind of cool. Yeah, this card's really good, really cool. I'm surprised it's a 9/9, honestly. So, I'm surprised it's an uncommon, not a rare. But there you go, thrice called. That's not. I can't even say it. Beetlejuice, whatever. All right, we're moving on here. Card's cool, pretty good. Anthropede, 4 mana for a 3/4 common insect with reach. Whenever it enters, you can discard a card or pay 2. When you do, destroy target room. Wow, hate for the room deck. This card's fine. You know, a 3/4 reach for 4 is not super exciting. Discarding a card or paying to destroy a room. Some rooms have effects that stay in play. Some rooms just do a thing on ETB. So, like, not every room is worth killing. But yeah, this card's just, like, limited filler. Maybe sideboard card for the room deck. You know, also it blocks flyers too, I guess. But I feel like there aren't that many flyers in the set. So, it's whatever. Discarding a card for Delirium is a thing you can do, but it's card disadvantage and not a thing you're excited to do. So, poor Giant Spider, right? F's in chat for Giant Spider. Aww. Next up is Bade Worm. Rare 5 mana 5/5, can't be countered, trample haste. So, charging monster with a little upside. But the real excitement here is the Delirium ability. So, if this card's in your graveyard, you can spend 4 mana to return it with a finality counter, but you can only do this if you have Delirium. That's very powerful. At 5 mana, this card is... It's okay. It's not great. Good limited card. At 4 mana, this card's quite good. And then at 4 mana plus a card, because it's already in your graveyard, you don't use a card from your hand. That's excellent. So, that's really cool, honestly. This card seems pretty excellent to me. If you're able to get it in the graveyard and then bring it back. That being said, can you do that? That's the question, you know? So... Casting this card at face value is not super exciting, but just discarding it, returning it in some way is pretty cool. And, yeah, that's kind of sweet. So there you go. The Worm. Obviously a great limited card, too. Charging Monster is a great limited card. This is much, much more than that. Borderline broken and limited. Bashville Bestie. 5 mana for a common 5/4. When it dies, Manifest Dread. Just a good limited card. Manifest Dread's excellent. It's a very, very good mechanic. Manifest Dread is when you look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 in the battlefield face down is 2/2 and 1 to your graveyard, and you can flip face up. Good in graveyard decks, good card searching. Blue-green cares about Manifest Dread also as the mechanic for the archetype. So just a fine common, nothing great, just fine. Break down the door. The mana for an instant. Choose one. Exile artifact, exile enchantment, or Manifest Dread. This card's fine. You know, in limited, this card's reasonable because, like, there are plenty of artifacts and enchantments. Exiling's pretty good. And then Manifest Dread as a buyout of like, okay, sure, I can manifest dread if I can't do anything else is reasonable too. Here's Johnny. Chat's doing that's the name of the movie. Like, you said the name of the movie. We get it. Yes, lawsuit coming, understand. But yeah, this card's fine. Limited, reasonable card. Constructed, probably not, because like the Manifest Dread buyout is much less valuable in Constructed because like you don't want to buy out on your sideboard card. You want to use it as a sideboard card. So, but for limited, this card's fine. It's also an instant for Delirium, which is kind of cool too. So, Cathartic Parting. What is going on here? Why is this pixel art? What's happening? What? Huh? 2 mana for a sorcery. Owner of target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls shuffles into their library. You may shuffle 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. This is just de-glamour with sorcery speed. I mean, like, if you need to exile an artifact or enchantment, this card's okay, I guess. Shuffling cards back into your library is not great in a graveyard set. Just a fringe disenchant. Cautious Survivor. Of course, survival is a mechanic shared by green and white, which cares about your creature being tapped at the end of combat. This is a 4-mana 4/4. Survival, gain 2 life. This is fine. It's a good common. 4/4 for 4 is obviously reasonable. Gain a little life here and there is kind of cool too. It's okay. Yeah, it's limited filler, but fine. Coordinated Clobbering. 1 green sorcery. Tap 1 or 2 target untapped creatures you control. They each deal damage equal to their power. Target creature an opponent controls. So this is an interesting one where it's sort of a downside, but sort of an upside. So usually we see 1 green, bite. That's it. Good card, typically. This has to tap the creatures. So that's bad. It's worse than we usually see, right? Well, this is going to enable your survival effects. If I have a survival card in play I want to tap for value, this is a way to do that without attacking, which is kind of cool too. So definitely a pretty fun design in that like it's in theory worse than usual, but in some ways better than usual. Card's good. I like it. Definitely a cool card. Pretty fun mechanics. Sweet. Constructed, no, but cool card. Cryptid Inspector's next. 2 mana for a 2/3 Vigilance Elf Warrior. Whenever a face-down permanent you control ETBs, or whenever Abyss is turned face up, or anything is turned face up, put a counter on the Inspector. So again, the blue-green mechanic is all about face-down stuff. This seems like a linchpin common for that archetype. If you're doing the thing, this card seems great, right? The first face-down thing you do makes this a 3/4, which is good. And then as you go on more and more, like, you know, if it's a 4/5, a 5/6 with Vigilance, pretty nice, honestly. So if you're doing the whole manifest thing, this card's pretty cool. It's a little weird, but makes it a good limited card if you are doing that thing. Defiance Survivor. 3 mana for a 3/2 survival. Manifest Dread. Very powerful. Very, very powerful card. It's a 3/2. So this is more of a synergy card. I meant like you probably can't safely attack with this. You need to like tap into other means. But that's still very powerful, making a 2/2 every turn. So a little more of a synergy card, but very powerful. And also, Manifest Dread makes, Survival makes your combat tricks play better also, because your opponent is going to be super likely to try and block these things. They do not want it to survive, making your tricks better too. In Constructed, this can crew things and do, you know, it's easier to make this thing tap without attacking in Constructed. And dreading every turn is pretty good, but maybe not good enough, honestly. Maybe if it was like a 3/3 or a 2/3, but yeah, cool card. It's pretty sweet. Got a shot. Enduring Vitality. This is the green Enduring Rare, where it's a creature and dies because of enchantment. 3 mana for a 3/3 Vigilance. Creatures you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color, and then when it dies, it comes back as an enchantment that does that. These effects have been okay. Cryptolith Rite being the big one. I think it's a little worse on a 3/3 for 3. It's a little more expensive. The body's not great. It can kind of buy itself back. It does play well with Survive, which is kind of cool. And then if it dies, the enchantment stays in play, which is kind of cool too. But overall, I don't know. This card just seems okay to me. Maybe it'll play better than it looks. Nothing really jumps out as that exciting for me. But it is good survival, and it is kind of cool if you're doing stuff. I don't know. It just seems okay. Great limited card, obviously, because it's just like a fine body and good survival. But for Constructed, not really seeing it. Fear of Exposure. 3 mana for a 5/4 trample. Additional cost to cast this spell, tap 2 untap creatures and or lands you control. Love the design here, right? So this is a 5/4. It's basically a 5 mana 5/4 trample, but you can tap your creatures to pay for it, which is obviously insane with survival and just good anyway. I think this card is good on rate even without survival being a thing. So with survival, this card's excellent. Card's great. Phenomenal limited card. Not really that constructed, but phenomenal limited card. Flesh Burrower, horrifying. 2 mana for a 2 mana for a 2/2 Death Touch. Whenever it attacks another creature you control gains Death Touch till end of turn. It's fine. You know, obviously as the 2-drop goes, it's totally reasonable. Push things through. Blocks pretty well. It's good. Good limited 2-drop. Nothing super exciting. Frantic Strength. 3 mana for a flash, aura, +2/+2, and trample. We see this card a lot. It's often not that good, but I think in the context of a set with survival in it, it's more exciting. It's also a set with Eerie and Delirium and enchantment stuff. So I think that adding those pieces together makes this card more interesting than usual. That being said, it's still kind of a filler card, so I wouldn't be super excited about it, but better than usual. Grasping Longneck. This card's great. Like, I almost had this as a Bombin Common. It's not that good, but I think this card's awesome. 3 mana for a 4/2. Reach. When it dies, you gain 2. So this card does a ton. If you're aggressive, a 4/2 for 3 that has Death Trigger is reasonable enough. It's also an enchantment for Delirium, which is great. If you're not aggressive, it blocks really, really well. It blocks flyers, it blocks big ground creatures, it trades up, it gains life. Card's great. It's an enchantment for Eerie stuff. I think this card's awesome. Big fan of this card. The perfect kind of like nuts and bolts limited card to keep you alive. And also hits. 4 damage is a lot too. So card's great. Big fan. Very creepy. Hauntwood's Shrieker. Where is Llanowar Elves when you need him, right? When Llanowar Elves comes back in Foundation, this card is going to get a lot better. But 2 mana for a 3/3. Whenever it attacks, manifest Dread. Very powerful. Then 2 mana to reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature, turn it face up. So this can face up any face down permanent for only 2, not the manifest cost. That being said, this is a 3 mana 3/3 that doesn't do anything until you play it, which is a little bit of a, you know, an iffy proposition, but it is a pretty powerful card. It's obviously a great limited card, just bonkers limited. And constructed, hey, maybe it's a manifest deck, it'd be kind of cool. You know, it's kind of a beatdown card. But yeah, constructed, I don't see a ton of prospects for it until Llanowar Elves comes out. But even with Llanowar Elves, not exactly sure. It's fun. Hedge Shredder. 4 mana for a 5/5 vehicle. Whenever it attacks, you may mill 2. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them on the battlefield tapped. Crew 1. This is a very odd card. That type line is a really powerful effect. Lands you mill going into the battlefield is pretty awesome. You're ramping, you're getting value off your mills. That's really, really cool. But do you have other mills? Not really. This thing can't attack with haste. You gotta just play this thing and say go. Obviously, it's a 5/5. It can crew. It does crew survivors, which is kind of cool also. It's a pretty powerful card. You know, like, as far as, like, pure rate goes. Can't go for the throat it. It's very interesting. You know, and there are plenty of land things to do with Aftermath Analyst and Lumra and so on and so forth. So, I don't know. You know, this card does seem reasonably powerful. But that being said, I don't know if it would find a home. It is cool with landfall crabs. That's true. That's true. You mill yourself, you just keep milling. That's kind of cute, honestly. So, yeah, I don't know. Weird card. Great limited card. Constructed, I honestly don't know. This card's too hard to parse in a, you know, a 1-minute set review glance. Pretty powerful, though. Horrid Vigor. 2 mana for an instant. Creature gets Death Touch and indestructible in a turn. Just a middling combat trick. Nice, easy one to, as a palate cleanser from the last one. House Cartographer. 2 mana for a 2/2. Survival. If you survival, reveal cards top of your library to reveal a land. Put it in your hand. Rest on the bottom. This card's fine. Right? 2/2 draw land every turn in theory. It's a bear. Great limited card. Constructed, possible if for some sort of like survival deck. But it's cool. Insidious Fungus. 1 mana for a 1/2. Pay 2, sack it, choose 1. Destroy artifact, destroy an enchantment, or draw a card and put a land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped. So you have disenchant, explore on a 1/2. It's kind of good, right? Like, this card's just really flexible. Explore is a pretty powerful effect. Sort of Haywire Might-esque. Obviously not being an artifact is rough, but probably just a sideboard card. But yeah, that's cool. Cool little card. In limited, probably startable, honestly, because there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments. That's cool. Kona Rescue Bestie. If there's an award for scariest card in the set, it's this one. 4 mana for a 4/3. Survival. Second main. You may put a permanent card into your hand on the battlefield for free. You can what now? Really don't like the design of this card that much. You can put your Valgoth or your Atraxa or whatever, Omniscience into play. It's really not that hard to just like tap this thing to a Springleaf Drum or a Crew or whatever else it might be. It's also it's a 4/3 for 4, which is like a decent enough mana value. If a deck with this card ends up good, like it's gonna put a lot of pressure on the format to have instant rule spells available. I don't know. This card scares me, but also it might do nothing. So it's kind of a weird, like it's, you know, how much will it do? We're gonna try it. You know, it's pretty busted if it works, but we'll see. 3 toughness. I don't know. This card scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Relic of Legends, vehicles, lots of good ways to tap it. We'll see. I don't know. You know, it's could be pretty busted. No awards here. I'm too scared on all sides to give this card an award. So, gonna move on. Limited not as good, obviously. Leyline of Mutation. Yay, more Leylines. It's free or 4 mana. It's your opening hand. Pay Wooburg for your mana cost of spells you can cast. I think this card's really bad. Like most of it, Leylines. If you can make Wooburg, you probably cast whatever you want to cast at that point, and you're playing a terrible Leyline to try and get there. I think this card's unplayable in all respects. Manifest Dread. That's the name of the movie. 2 mana for a sorcery. Manifest Dread. The card's pretty good, honestly. Manifest Dread's great. This is a really, really easy path to Delirium. Puts a sorcery in the bin, puts whatever you manifest in the bin, and then obviously the manifest creature itself can die for the bin too. So I think this card's good, honestly. Just good Delirium card, great limited card. Constructed possible, playable, I think. Good in the blue-green manifest deck, good in the red-green Delirium decks. Card's great. Super solid limited card. Monstrous Emergence. This is a effect I don't think, ever seen before. Bombin Common. 2 mana for a sorcery. Additional cost to cast a spell. Choose a creature you control, or reveal a creature card from your hand. This deals damage equal to the power of the creature you chose, or the card you revealed to target creature. So this is a bite. It's also a reveal to bite. So it's not, I bite, you kill it in response, I get screwed. You're choosing it as you're casting it. Then you're biting from your hand. This is just Doomblade, right? If I just have a 5/5 in my hand, this is just Doomblade. Boom. Damn. Done. That's like really good. Like just green Doomblade, you know? So there are some big landslide wars in the set too. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's also literally the art of a hand biting, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this card is something. At a sorcery speed, it's not going to work for constructed. But for limited, this is a top flight removal spell. And then again, in the early game, it kills things. In the late game, you choose to thing in play. This card's something else. Pretty powerful card. Great limited card. Bombin Common for the set. Monstrous Emergence for green. Omnivorous Flytrap is next. They made it for a 2/4 plant. Delirium. Whenever it ETBs or attacks, if you have Delirium, distribute 2+1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 creatures. Then if there are 6 or more card types among creatures in your graveyard, double the number of counters on those creatures. This card's kind of messed up. So if you have Delirium and you cast this card, it's a 4/6, and then just counter start going everywhere. I mean, obviously, absolutely insane and limited. Constructed, I mean, versus Delirium deck, this card kind of hits, folks. It has Super Delirium for 6, which is a lot. But it's like possible, you know? Mega Delirium, yeah. How to have Delirium turn 3 in Standard? You just play a Fable Passage and play a freaking Manifest Red. It's not like, you know, easy or whatever, but it's certainly doable. So, card's pretty good. Unfortunately, the fail state here is obviously that, like, it does nothing without Delirium, but this is a powerful card. So, great limited card, constructed possible. Card's good. Overgrown Zealot, 2 mana for an 0/4 mana dork that taps for 2 mana to spend to turn permanents face up. An 0/4 mana dork's pretty good, right? Because, like, in limited, you want anything to live. It also doesn't die in Constructed that much either. So this card's like an outside shot at Constructed is like maybe the best mana dork in Standard, maybe, because it's just like an 0/4. But if you're doing the whole manifest thing, this card's great too. So yeah, so kind of cool. This card is definitely good at blue-green limited. Definitely good in limited overall. Constructed, probably not that exciting. But yeah, it's good. It's an elf too, which is kind of nice. Cool. Overgrown Zealot. Good card. Overlord of the Haunt Woods. More Overlords. More Best in Shows. Spawn more Overlords. Folks, I don't know how this card got printed, honestly. 5 mana for a 6/5. It has Impending 3. When it ETPs or attacks, create a tapped colorless land token named Everywhere that has every basic land type. So, in a vacuum, this card is fine, right? It's 2 mana to ramp, turns into a creature eventually. You can just cast this card, obviously, as a 6/5, it's reasonable enough. So, in a vacuum, fine. Cool, sure. In the context of Delirium being, of Domain being a thing, oh my god. What are they thinking, right? This is turn 3, instant Domain, and ramp, and a threat later, and it even draws a card up the beanstalk.
Bingo! Alright.
Which is absurd. Domain was the deck that we thought was going to go away once the new Capenna Triomes rotated. Ended up still being very good. And now it gets this card also. Holy crap, folks. So, this is a big, big deal. Domain's going to be one of the decks to beat, I would imagine, after Duskmourn releases. It already is very good in Standard, and it's going to be great. And this card's going to be the linchpin for it. This is like the amazing replacement for Topiary Stomper. It's just really good. It's just really, really good. So, obviously, this is a Domain card. It's Insane Domain. Is it playable elsewhere? I think 5, probably, right? It's just a fine ramp card. It's a big boom boom. But yeah, in Domain specifically, this card is unbelievably ridiculous. Limited's great. Best in Show, Overlord of the Haunt Woods. Damn. That is a card, folks. Patchwork Bestie is next. Bestie. 1 mana for a 3/3. Artifact creature beast, Delirium. This cannot attack or block unless you have Delirium, which is obviously a big downside. But if your upkeep, you may mill a card, which will help find Delirium. Again, there's a lot of Delirium aggro things happening. This card's great and limited. Constructed, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things for this aggro Delirium deck, and this card seems kind of cool. I'm in. Constructed, I'm going to try it. Limited for sure, but I'm trying it for Constructed also. I think this card's pretty sweet. Can't be hit by the Go for the Throat. Can't be hit by Cut Down. Probably won't attack until like turn 3, maybe 4, but it's big. We'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see. Rootwise Survivor. 5 mana for a human survivor with haste. It's a 3/4. If it survives, second main phase, put 3 +1/+1 encounters on 1 land you control. Becomes an elemental, and it gains haste till your next turn. This art is very Blizzard Hearthstone-y. That is true, yeah. This card is interesting. It's like not very big, but it does have haste. Making your lands into 3/3s is good, but not as good as like making a 3/3 token. I think this card's like fine. I think it's a little too small to be that excited about it. Haste also allows you to maybe just sneak it in and get a natural survival in. So it gives a land haste because, like, if it's an untapped land, untapped for mana, it's like a weird thing. They always just give lands haste to stop the feel bads of summoning sickness for lands, tapped for mana. So, but yeah, I think this card's kind of meh, honestly. It can make the same land bigger, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. If you're like super survival-y, this card seems fine, but otherwise it's very unexciting. Say its name. 2 mana for a sorcery, mill 3. Return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile this and 2 other cards named Say Its Name from your graveyard. Search your graveyard, hand, and library for a card named Altenic the Thrice Called and put it on the battlefield. Search the library for this way. Shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. Oh boy. So constructed, there's no clause here about multiple copies and more than 4 copies, so whatever. This is obviously like your limited, gotta catch them all card. Realistically, this card's just fine, right? 2 mana mill 3, return a creature or land is like, it's not quite Malevolent Rumble or or Cash Grab, but it's close. And then if you have one of these Altenacs, which is an uncommon in your deck, the upside is heinous if it ever works. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to doing that limited, hopefully. But there are better options in constructed, most likely. But yeah, that's cool. Fun little limited side quest. Slavering Branch Snapper. This is the green land cycler. It's a 7/6 trample with forest cycling. Again, there are some reanimation things, and this is pretty big. This card's good. Not as good as the black and white ones, I think, because those are better because of reanimation. But 7/6 trample for 6 is fine enough. This card's good. Spine Seeker Centipede. To metaphor a 2/1 ETB search for basic land, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Delirium, it's a 3/3 Vigilance. Pretty good. Good common. Honestly, a very good common. Just a fine card if you're not deliriuming, and then if you are deliriuming, it's pretty awesome. The art is horrifying, honestly. Let's just go to my next card here. Threats around every corner. 4 mana for an enchantment. When an ETB's Manifest Dread. Whenever a face-down permanent you control enters, search the library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Sneaky sleeper here. Didn't get the sleeper award. I think this card's actually awesome. I think this card is, if any sort of Manifest Dread or like Morph, Cloak, Disguise, whatever thing is playable in Standard, this is it. This is why. And then limited, this card's awesome. It's obviously just a good card by itself, and it's great if you're playing the blue-green deck. Love it. Love this card. I think this card's going to play a lot better than it looks. Yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. Card's awesome. Can't wait to play with it. Twitching Doll. 2 mana for a artifact creature spider toy. Taps for mana of any color, puts a counter on it, and you can sacrifice it to make a 2/2 reach spider token for each counter on it as a sorcery. This card's cool, right? Obviously a great limited card. It's just a mana door with upside. Constructed, also a mana door with upside. We just like tap mana, tap mana, tap mana. Oh, it's turn 5. Sure, here's some 3/3s. So, it's creepy, but the card's good. Good card. I would say outside shot, constructed, great limited card. Tyvar the Pummeler. Tyvar returns. 3 mana for a 3/3 Elf Warrior. Tap and untap creature you control, gets indestructible in a turn, and then tap it. And then tap 5. Creatures you control get +X/+X on a turn. Rex is the greatest power among creatures you control. So, obviously an absolutely broken limited card. Just like, sorry, stay, keep it alive, untap, kill you. Constructed, however, that activated ability is not particularly exciting in Constructed. So, I don't know. Obviously, you can like save it in theory, maybe, but I don't think it's good enough for Constructed. Insane limited card, though. Maybe you got a chance Constructed, but I don't know. It's fine. Relatively simple card, honestly. Under the Skin. Sorcery. Manifest Dread. And then you may return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Just Eternal Witness Manifest Dread? That's insane. You can even play this on turn 3 and just return the card you bin and just draw a card. So the floor here is 3 mana, Manifest Dread, draw a card. And the ceiling is Eternal Witness. Of course, you can't loop the witnesses or bounce it. But yeah, this card's insane. Insane limited card. Probably not good enough for constructed, but insane limited card. Absolutely insane. It's real good. Volgavoth's Onslaught. We got a sleeper card here, folks. I like this card. Green XX sorcery. Manifest Dread X times. Then put X plus the most 1 counters on each of those creatures. So, green 1/1. 3 mana, Manifest Dread, put a counter on it. So 3 mana for a 3/3, Manifest Dread. Cool. 5 mana. Manifest Dread twice, 2 4/4s. 2 cards in the graveyard. That's pretty good too, right? What's this? 3, 6, 7 mana. You get 3 5/5s. Bin 3 card. We're going places, right? I think this card's actually secretly awesome. I think it plays well with some of the other Manifest Dread kind of rampy cards. This card's good. And the absolute basic floor here is 3/3 bin a card, which is fine. Honestly, you could deal with that for sure. So this is probably one of the best limited cards in the set, and I think this card's got a real chance in constructed. I'm excited about this card. It could be a cool ramp card. Could be a card for Manifest Dread decks as well. I'm in. I'm a big fan of this card. Like it a lot. Definitely will see a deck in 10 new brews with this card in it. I promise you, right here, right now. I guarantee it. Volgavoth's Onslaught, our sleeper card for green. Wari Watchdog. Wari Thespian returns. This is just a good limited common, folks. 2 mana 3/1, ETB, Surveil 1, or Die Surveil 1. There are some 1/1 token things in this set. But for the most part, this card's great. Especially in this set where Wari Thespian in March the Machine was a pretty good card just to like block and stay alive and find your stuff. This is a graveyard set though. So it's even better in this set than it was in that set. I think it's going to be one of the better green commons. Not a card you're like, oh my god, I lost this card so badly. But one of the cards that will have a really high win rate on 17 lands because like it's just such a good grease the wheels kind of card. I think it's great. Not playable and limited, constructed, but card's great. And then we have Wicker Folk Thresher. 4 mana for a 5/4, so good stats and limited already. If you have Delirium and it attacks, if there are 4 more targets in the graveyard, look top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it in the battlefield. If you don't put it on the battlefield, put it in your hand. Busted limited card. 5/4 for 4 is already great. And then if you attack with Delirium, you get to draw a card. That's awesome. Constructed, no, but great limited card. Really powerful. Excellent card. Moving on to our rooms. There are 3 rooms in green, the least rooms of a color. And of course, rooms are enchantments. You play one side, like a split card, other side's closed, and you pay the mana on the other side of sword speed to open it. So we have Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo. Greenhouse is 3 mana to make lands you control tap for mana of any color, which is not really worth 3 mana. The Gazebo is 4 mana. If you unlock this door, mill 4, return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's really slow. So this card just seems kind of meh, honestly. If there's some sort of like super slow draft deck, I guess this could be a thing in it, but both of these are pretty unexciting. And I'm sorry, it also only returns cards from the cards you mill. That's even worse. Yeah, this card just kind of stinks. Sorry. Moldering Gym and Weight Room is the common green room. This is 3 mana to Rampant Growth on the Moldering Gym side, and then 6 mana to Manifest Dread and put 3 counters on it on the Weight Room side. Honestly, pretty good. This is a good limited card. Just like Rampant Growth, and then later on, just play a 6 mana for a 5/5 with some upside too. It's good. It's fine. Good limited card, I think. I think that like there's a lot of dual lands in the set too. Some sort of like 5 color green could be a thing in limited, and this does a reasonable job of that. It's good. It's a ramp and a payoff. Solid limited card for sure. And our final green card and final room is also our trap card.
It's a trap.
Walk-in Closet and Forgotten Cellar. Walk-in Closet is Crucible of Worlds. 3 mana, play land cards from your graveyard. Sure. Crucible of Worlds is okay sometimes. Forgotten Cellar is 5 mana. If you unlock this door, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn. And if a card you put into a graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile this instead. So, what we have here is Crucible of Worlds and Yawgmoth's Will. It's funny where I think this will actually be a really good Vintage Cube card, but this is not a very good Standard card or Pioneer card or a card in any format where you're likely to play it. The Yawgmoth's Will part is just so expensive, and the Crucible part, if you're not bringing back Wasteland or Strip Mine, it's not very exciting either. So I think for the most part, this is just not, it's just a bust. It looks very exciting because it mimics two really powerful cards, but I don't think it's very good. And then limited of his cards also pretty bad too. So, what are you going to do? Kind of a miss. But that's it for green. So to recap, our best in show is Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Our sleeper card is Valgavat's Onslaught, Bombin Common, Monstrous Emergence, and then our trap card is Walkin Closet, Forgotten Cellar. That's green, folks, all right? So, you two folks, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, support the content. Let me know what you think about my choices for my awards. We got multicolor coming up, so don't go nowhere. Like, comment, subscribe.